Thanks everyone for joining us today. I just wanted to say thank you also to Pimento, Stephen and Teresa, Laura for setting the session up, and we hope you find it useful. I'm Jill Shaw, so I'm Head of Partnerships at Bauer Academy, and I focus on working with our employers on training solutions and support of their business needs. So I've also got a few colleagues with me today, and I'll let them introduce themselves. So Caroline, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi everybody, I'm Caroline Watkinson. I'm the Commercial Director of Bauer Academy. So I work with Jill in terms of on the commercial side of the business, talking about our entire L&D offering internally to Bauer, but also externally to our 60 plus clients. Over to Michelle.
Thank you, Caroline. So hi, everyone. I'm Michelle Mackay. I'm the Education Director of the Bauer Academy. So I oversee the design and the delivery and the innovation of our apprenticeship programmes and also work outside of apprenticeships as well. So really part of my role is the delivery team sits underneath me, and I work closely with them to make sure that we are co-creating and designing programmes that are really fit for industry and meet the needs of both learners and the employers that we work with. That's me.
And it's me. I'm Nina Kravik, Data Compliance Manager for Bauer. Oh, can you hear me? Yeah. So I'm a Data Compliance Manager for Bauer Academy, and my team looks after full enrollment and completion for apprentices. And obviously, we look after make sure that we're fully compliant in line with the SFA funding rules.
Okay, Michelle, would you like to kick off with a little video? This is just a video that just because as Bauer Academy, we're based within Bauer Media, and that's we're the in-house training provider offering a host of learning solutions for our own business and also the external clients that we work with. So by way of intro, I just wanted to show you a video because we rebranded as a business last year. And this will just kind of give you an overview of how we're positioning ourselves in the market today.
Do let me know if there's any problems with this, because I can't see people on my screen at the moment. So here we go.
We are Bauer, and we live for moments. Big or small, even tiny. Making each day a little better for our customers, moment by moment. Enriching everyday life. It's why we exist. Our one common purpose. This is no meaningless statement. We place these words at the heart of everything we do, and we start on the inside, with those that make Bauer, Bauer. Creating a sense of belonging, uniting around shared goals, and by being a great place to do great work. Sparkling with creativity, diversity, and celebrating that feeling where moments become magic. We are a community that connects our consumers to the things that make them laugh, smile, dance. Feels good, doesn't it? We want all our customers to feel it every day, all 200 million of them across Europe. For them, we inform, entertain, and we inspire with our content, products, and services. They're the reason we never rest, because enriching their everyday means living our values. For over 5 generations, we've adapted, reinvented, and revolutionized so we can stay in the moment. We're more than just a media group. We're digitally driven, future-fit, content-rich. We inspire and we serve for every moment, every day, every minute, every second.
Thanks, Michelle. Sorry, I don't know if that was a bit jumpy for everybody. It didn't work that well for me, but apologies if it didn't work for everyone. I'm just going to jump back into the slides. So the video very much was emphasising that Bauer's one common purpose across all its brands and all its territories, which is enriching everyday life. And at Bauer Academy, we're very laser focused on ensuring we absolutely deliver on this purpose. So we offer enriching learning experiences for our learners and for the employers that we work with. And all of this is underpinned by our mission to create educational change. Now, so the Academy, we started, sorry, I'm just going to jump through the slides here. We started, we evolved as a talent pipeline for Bauer's business and for the wider creative industries back in 2013, and we were mobilising opportunities for underrepresented groups in the creative sector and working in partnership with organisations like the Prince's Trust and the Department for Culture at that time. And we very much focus on work-based learning solutions. And in 2016, we were approved as an apprenticeship provider and have been delivering apprenticeships at home to Bauer's people and to our partner employers across a range of sectors. And it would be amiss of me not to point out that just last night we picked up an award at the AAC Apprenticeship Awards for Creative Design Apprenticeship of the Year, and we also received a highly commended for a Apprenticeship Provider of the Year. Can I just do a quick check because I've got really bad signal? Can people hear me? Can I just get a thumbs up?
Can hear you. Okay?
You're fine. Perfect. Thanks. Just everything's a bit distorted for me, so I just want to check. Thank you very much, Abby. So just a couple, we're very proud of how far we've come as an apprenticeship provider. We're Ofsted rated good. We're due our next inspection any day now. We're a City and Guilds appointed Centre of Excellence, and we get excellent ratings from our employers and learners. We're quite significantly above the national average when it comes to achievement results as well from our apprenticeships. And we're the top training provider in the UK for arts, media and publishing apprenticeships. So you're in good hands tuning in today and listening to what we've got to say. So before I kind of talk more about what we as a business offer and kind of our approach, we wanted to just do a bit of a 101 on apprenticeships essentially. So what are they? So they're essentially work-based training where the learning is applied directly into the role and flow of work. So they are industry recognised qualifications. The programmes are curated by a trailblazing committee, so people from industry, and they're very much geared up to ensuring that the apprentice has an ability to kind of create an impact on their role and improve their performance in their role. They're not just for new starters, yet they offer a fantastic opportunity to bring diverse talent into a business, but they also offer employers the opportunity to invest in staff, improve employee retention through upskilling and through professional development. They range across a number of levels. We offer they come from level 2 right up to level 7. So a level 2 is the equivalent of 2 GCSEs, and a level 7 is a master's equivalent. So they kind of run alongside an academic sort of what you would classify as academic recognised qualifications, and they're just as valuable, if not more, in my opinion, actually, because they are allowing people to kind of take their learnings and apply them into their role. They run for a minimum of 12 months, and programmes are then followed by an endpoint assessment period, and we'll talk about all this in a bit more detail. But as people go through programme, they'll do learning every month, and towards the end of the programme, they'll do an assessment, which is run by an external assessor, and they will then pass the apprenticeship. And a key point to make really is that any apprenticeship programme that someone signs up to must align to the role that they do, because they have to be able to evidence the training and the job that they do. So that's a bit about apprenticeships. It's also worth looking at why they're such an important and credible way of developing people. So they provide strong foundations by, aligning that learning to the job role, and the skills that are taught can immediately be put into practice, and it makes that's a far more sticky way of learning. They boost connectivity, bringing learners together. So in an open cohort setting, they'd be learning alongside peers from a variety of employers and sectors. And finally, obviously, there's the benefits of bringing apprentices in relating to sort of career and social mobility. So apprenticeships throw open the doors to a wider, more diverse pool of talent than more traditional routes into jobs. I mean, stats from the recent stats from the Department for Education show that every year we're seeing more people from diverse ethnic backgrounds or those with declared learning disabilities starting an apprenticeship. So there's really an opportunity to attract diverse pools of talent through incorporating apprenticeships as part of your recruitment process. But then, of course, also They can be used to effectively upskill and retrain staff as well. And they're a key strategic tool for retaining your best talent as well. So I'm going to come back and talk a bit more about recruiting and apprenticeships and the key roles of like the stakeholders in apprenticeship training. But before I do that, I want to hand over to Nina. So Nina's going to talk you through the levy, how to get set up, how to access funding, etc. So Nina, I'll just hand over to you now. Thanks.
Thanks, Jill. So if you could move it to the next slide. So apprenticeship funding is split into the two parts, non-levy and levy. Sorry, Jill, if you could put to the next slide, please. So a levy paying employee is pretty straightforward. Is the employer who has a annual bill of £3 million, and they are required to pay into the apprenticeship levy. These funds are manageable on DAS, Digital Apprenticeship Service Account, and they have to be spent on training the apprentices. The government will apply a 10% top up to the funds that you have in your account. If you don't have enough funds, the government will pay 95% and your contribution will just have to be 5% towards their training. This is up to the maximum funding band. And then if you could just move to the next slide, we will cover the non-levy paying employers. Non-levy paying employees is slightly different. It's a small employer and they don't have to pay into a levy pot. They just have to pay 5% towards contribution to assess the training, and government will pay the rest and top up the rest of the 95%. There's few exemptions. There is an exemption if you employ less than 50 employees, the government will pay 100% of the apprenticeship training. And also exemption if you do recruit 16 to 18 individuals, and also 19 to 24 with education, healthcare plan provided by the local authority. So Jill, next slide. And the final slide is the digital. So Apprenticeship Service Account is a digital portal where you can access your funds, you can recruit apprentices, you can add apprentices, and also you can transfer the funds, for example, if you have unspent levy pot. So I strongly advise to always book a call with me when you set it up, so I can provide you assistance and guide you how to set it up. It's usually pretty straightforward. There is so many information on GOV websites. But like I said, I'm always here to set it up and help you. So Jill, I'm going to pass it back to you to do the recruitment process.
Thanks, Nina. So I'm just going to talk about the recruitment and responsibilities. So before I do that, there's certain eligibility criteria that you have to adhere to in order to be eligible for funding from the government for apprenticeships. So, and this is a huge part of your recruitment process as well. So a potential candidate must be living in the UK for more than 3 years prior to the start of a programme and eligible to work in the UK. If they're not on a permanent contract with you, their contract must cover the duration of the programme and endpoint assessment period. So this will vary depending on the apprenticeship that they're doing. And also just a point to note is that they are being brought in as part-time, on a part-time contract, then we need to adjust the learning plan, which means that the programme might actually last a bit longer for them. So again, we just need to make sure they're contracted for the appropriate time. An apprentice can't have too much prior learning in the subject that they're doing. So whether that's through academic study or work experience, and we assess that at the outset as part of their onboarding process. And in order to pass the apprenticeship, they must be able to evidence their level 2s in maths and English. So that's GCSE level, grade C/4, depending, or above. So while we accept people on programme, if they don't have these, not all providers do. So it's just worth bearing that in mind. So we as a training provider would take them through that as part of their learning with us. We've got a functional skills team who are brilliant, and they'll take them through that and help them to pass that before they go into their endpoint assessment. But it just does mean that the apprentices will have additional learning to do across their programme. So it's worth bearing in mind as well. So when it comes to recruitment, you will basically go through, there's different providers who will operate in different ways. So you might work with a provider who will do recruitment for you, but we as a provider don't. We prefer that the employer does the recruiting, and that that then the person is brought in and is best aligned to the business that they're going into. So ahead of recruitment, what we just need to make sure is, however, that job ads align to the roles of the apprenticeship standard. If you're bringing in sort of early careers apprenticeships, because that will mean that it's far easier for the apprentice to kind of take the learning and apply it to their role and evidence it, and then ultimately pass the apprenticeship. We need to leave plenty of time for recruitment as well, because as well as your standard recruitment timelines, we also have to take into account an enrolment period of bringing the apprentice on board. So for us, our minimum is 6 weeks ahead of when the programme starts, and that's just so that we can do all of our eligibility checks internally. We arrange one-to-one sessions with the tutor and the apprentice. We have all the paperwork to do. Line managers get involved as well. So it just gives plenty of time to make sure that they're fully set up and ready to then start on programme. In terms of recruitment as well, it might be that you want to bring the apprentice in slightly ahead of them starting on the programme, so they get to know the business first as well. So just all these things to bear in mind. And it goes without saying, you know, to make sort of recruitment as inclusive as possible. So your routes to recruitment, I mean, I do have some literature on this I can share afterwards if anyone's interested and wants to find out a bit more. But really, you've got some key sites that can support you in finding an apprentice. The government portal is a brilliant source, and lots of people head there first and foremost. But you also have a really great site now where you can actually register and create an employer profile, and they have this career finder site where individuals kind of looking for apprenticeships can see your profile and your job ads, etc. So that's another really good place to go. LinkedIn naturally, and then of course asking your training provider to share. And you all have your own methods of recruitment, I'm sure. And it's just as you would normally recruit, I guess. And your role as an employer when it comes to recruiting an apprenticeship, really it's responsibility of you in the first instance to make sure that they're eligible, and then also to issue their contract of employment, as we discussed. You would pay them a relevant wage. Now, the government websites provides advice around that. We as a provider would just ask that you're a responsible provider and have all the relevant benefits and terms in place. And then, of course, it's about the legal side of it. So it's just signing the training agreements. Now, these are legal documents, and they outline the responsibility of each party involved. And absolutely, we can share an example of our agreement if you would like to look through that ahead of sort of making any decision on recruiting apprentices. And this is just quite useful to have a look at sort of what are the roles and responsibilities of each stakeholder in the learning partnership. So, you know, as a training provider, it's their responsibility to teach, obviously, all the knowledge, skills and behaviours of the apprenticeship standards. We do that very much within an individualised learning plan for people. We'll monitor each learner's progress, and we have a legal duty of care to the learners as their training provider. So we take safeguarding really seriously, we log welfare concerns. Our team can provide individual learning support for any personalisations anyone needs, any additional needs or accessibility issues they need. And we absolutely prepare that learner and support them as they move towards their endpoint assessment. So we're there for that whole journey. And we have an open door policy as well. They will have regular check-ins with their tutors, but anytime they want to reach out to their tutor, they can do that. The role of the line manager, the employer, then is very much to help the apprentice in their journey. So support them in their learning and their application of the skills that they're learning on programme and applying them into their role. It's also important that they monitor their progress, and we as a provider provide a login for you to join the learning platform and see how they're going on it. But it's just really important to kind of emphasise how much the apprenticeship is a part of their role and it's a part of their job, and give them the time that they need to do it. So the government stipulation on commitment to the apprenticeship is an average of 6 hours dedicated to the apprenticeship. So different employers will kind of assign that in different ways, and Michelle's going to talk about this shortly in a bit more detail. But it is important that apprentices are given time in their working week to dedicate to apprenticeship related work. And then also we have the roles of the apprentice. Now that's very much about them taking ownership of their own learning. So they need to be in the driving seat. Certainly in workshops with us, it's cameras on, it's participation. Our delivery model includes interactive workshops, and attendance at all these workshops is mandatory as they go through a programme. They have a responsibility to meet assignment deadlines, to make a conscious effort to expand and build on their learning outside of what they're learning on programme with us. And then, of course, evidencing it all. So it's taking that learning, showing how they're using it in their day job and evidencing it as part of their learning log as well. And of course, they then need to go on to practice for their endpoint assessment. So what I'm going to do now is quickly hand on to Michelle, who's going to just talk to you a bit more about our approach as a training provider. Thanks, Michelle.
Thank you, Gillian. So as we've mentioned, the Bauer Academy sits within Bauer Media, one of the largest media companies in the world. And so as a training provider, operating in this company gives us a really unique and privileged position. We're not just aligned to industry, we are the industry. And that means that we can use all of the insights which that brings in terms of a working understanding of emerging trends, of skills gaps, and of challenges faced by employers that we work with. And we make sure that we design and we deliver our training solutions to meet those needs. Our delivery team have extensive industry backgrounds and a real deep passion for the subject areas that they teach. And teaching inside the industry makes it possible for our teaching team to stay up to date and stay ahead of the curve. So they've got access to all of the departments, teams, reports, meetings across Bauer. They regularly attend these things and they're linked in with what's actually happening within the industry at the moment. Within this unique space, our learners can network with industry professionals and develop employability skills whilst they learn in a real working environment. Our mission statement hasn't changed in over a decade. I've not put the full mission statement here, but I've just put part of it. We are here to create educational change, and we passionately believe it's in the interests of learners and employers that education evolves. So our approach to delivery, whether that's apprenticeships or other training solutions, is that we always start with a foundation of best educational practice and obviously making sure we're compliant, as Nina will contest to. From a quality of education perspective, we take really great care to curate programmes of learning that meets the needs of learners and employers, and which foster communities of learning which reinforce concepts, build confidence in learners, and it can result in a sharing of knowledge and best practice. And we know that's where some of the magic lies. And we often find that learners who come with us in cohorts, they tend to continue their learning community together after a programme has finished, continuing to share ideas, industry knowledge with each other. We found that on quite a number of our programmes. Second, we are work-based learning specialists. So we ensure our delivery aligns to identified skills gaps, future-proofing the creative industries, as well as other employers that we work with. All of our programmes, all of our activities and our assignments are designed in a way, in such a way that they merge with the job role, as opposed to the training element of the apprenticeship sitting very separate to the job role. We really work hard to make sure that it's woven together. And we take all of that best educational practice and all of those employer and industry skills needs, and we then translate it to meet the needs of our learners. So in the Academy, we talk about learner first being our North Star, and we develop individual learning plans to support each learner to achieve, and creating plans that stretch and challenge them across the programme that they're on. And finally, you don't create educational change or have a tangible impact on learners and employers without innovation. And being based within Bauer Media, creativity is very much part of our DNA and something that we look to develop within our learners as well as our own team. So we do weave creative and innovative approaches throughout all of the areas of what we do in our approach to delivery. So what does that look like in practice for a learner? So our delivery approach really centres on a learn and apply philosophy. We really don't believe in passive learning. So there's a traditional chalk and talk approach, that lecture style delivery where learners are just sitting listening to someone. That doesn't work. I'm sure if you all think about subjects that you did at school, I'm sure many of you passed your exams, but I don't know how much of that you can retain and remember now. I know I did all right, but can't remember most of it. So instead, we curate our workshops to really challenge learners, to get them hands-on from the get-go, whether that's within the workshops or encouraging them to apply as soon as they get back into the workplace as well. Reflection is key to our approach, so we want learners to think about what works and what can be improved constantly, because that's often where real growth happens. And we're really flexible in this approach. It's not linear. Our philosophy is not linear. Sometimes in a workshop, we'll start with a piece of learning and then get them to apply it. Other times we get them straight into application and then reflecting on it and thinking, what can I learn from having done that and how can I improve it next time? I have to say some learners who come from more traditional learning backgrounds can find this a bit of a challenge at first when they come to us. If you're used to attending lectures, sitting back and listening and taking notes, it can be a little bit of a shock to come to a training provider where we expect you to be working and doing things all the way through a workshop. But we see time and time again how much this approach creates lasting and sustained change and positive impact, both for the learners in terms of their own professional development and for employers as well in terms of the impact it has on their role. Apprenticeships are perfect for this. You get a whole year, at least minimum, of learning and applying. That's how knowledge and new skills really stick. But even in non-apprenticeship programmes, we follow the same process, providing engaging content that challenges and stretches the learner, taking them out of their comfort zone and into their learning zone. And we work really closely with partners and employers that we work with to embed this philosophy, making learning a real driver of business impact. We've seen time and time again that project work linked to apprenticeships can have a real tangible impact on the business over and above the learner's own development. Just to give you an example, we did have a learner on a marketing programme who decided to work on a project as part of her learning, setting up an online book club and promoting it. But that created a whole new revenue stream for the magazine publication that she was working with. So that wasn't originally part of her day-to-day role, but as part of her learning, she worked on this across a number of months, and the organisation were able to get it sponsored, and it created a whole new revenue stream for them through her work on the apprenticeship programme. So that's how we do it at the Bauer Academy. It's active learning, real growth and lasting impact. Finally, for me, I thought it might be helpful to give you a bit of a rundown of the apprenticeship time requirement, which can be a bit anxiety causing for some people when they hear about it initially. So all apprenticeship programmes have got a mandatory government requirement that apprentices need to be doing active learning for a minimum of 6 hours per week. And that can be daunting to some people, especially employers and line managers. And in a traditional apprenticeship model, what that looks like is learners having a day a week to go to college and the rest of the time being within the workplace, doing the job. But that's not a model that works for the majority of employers, Bauer included. The government call this mandatory time commitment off the job, but really we don't see it as being off the job at all. We call it dedicated development time, or DDT for short. Use lots of acronyms within apprenticeships. So at the Bauer Academy, what we do is we design our programmes in a way that's more personalised to the learner and the employer, and means that most of this dedicated development time can weave more seamlessly through their job and their responsibilities than sitting off to the side. As a baseline, we do have some mandatory workshops and assignments, and the workshops need to be attended and completed. The exact time commitment of that varies depending on which programme they're on, but on average, it makes up around 40% of the overall commitment. And when I'm talking about assignments, the majority of what we do with assignments is getting people to apply, reflect, and do something within their role. So it's not usually assignments that sit completely separate to what they do. So it could be apply it, write a report, reflect on your learning, link it to theory. So just to reiterate, those assignments aren't always, separate to their actual job. The next level of DDT is more personalised to each learner and employer, and it makes up an average of about 60% of the overall time, depending on what programme that you're on. And that covers things like reading, research, listening to podcasts, attending conferences. If there's any internal employer training that's linked to the apprenticeship KSBs, knowledge, skills and behaviour, that can be counted as well, as can job shadowing sometimes. So it's also worth pointing out that while you can't put through your normal day-to-day job, like roles and responsibilities, as dedicated development time, because that would technically be considered on the job, the purpose of an apprenticeship is to gain full occupational competence of that role through the development of knowledge, skills and behaviours. So it is recognised that when there's a new skill or knowledge being put into place, there's going to be a period of learning where the apprentice becomes occupationally competent at it. And those learning periods can be counted as DDT. So as an example, on our leadership programmes, if you have to chair a meeting, that's something that comes up regularly as a KSB on all of the levels of leadership programmes that we do. If that's something that's new to a learner, or if they've been doing it quite ineffectively up to this point, they might chair their first meeting, reflect on it, do some more research on different tools and techniques they can implement, and try that on the next meeting and do that for a number of times. So all of those meetings could be counted on their dedicated development time log because there's clear learning associated with it. And once they've mastered the art of chairing meetings and they're not really continuing to learn anymore, then they can't continue to log it as DDT once there's no new learning to show. We get learners to track their DDT hours by logging it onto our learning management system, Smart Assessor. And as Jill mentioned, line managers have access to that to be able to see the progress that the learner's making against that time requirement. And they're required to show learning every month. One final thing to flag around DDT is kind of what I mentioned on the last slide around project work. We have found that employers that can identify real business needs, real business projects that they can be tasking apprentices with doing as part of their programme, that can result in the learners having a really rich learning experience working on projects that have real business benefit. All of that counts towards their time requirement, all of the time they're spending on it. Whilst on the other hand, you as an employer can benefit from the output of those projects, like the book club that I mentioned on the last slide. So we highly encourage learners and line managers to identify things that could be used as a project to build up knowledge and skill in the individual, whilst also benefiting your organisation. So I hope that's helped. If anyone's got any questions, you can let me know, and I will pass back to you, Jill.
Thanks, Michelle. Okay, so just a bit on next steps, just a couple more slides before we kind of come out of the presentation and we can have a chat. But this is just really what we can offer and how we can support you. And I just wanted to quickly flag up some of the clients that we work with. You'll recognise a lot of the businesses, but naturally we do draw a lot of media, creative agencies, marketing agencies into our world. But we do work with a variety of clients across a number of sectors as well. I'm just going to 2 seconds. Yeah, and we also have, I just wanted to, again, kind of emphasise all the different ways in which you can work with us. Obviously, there's apprenticeships, but we focus on works-based learning solutions. So whether that's sort of supporting businesses on their broader L&D solutions, within Bauer, you know, we train 16,000 employees across Europe, UK, Europe. So we're well versed in working across territories as well. And we offer workshops, masterclasses, day courses, and we install learning academies for clients. We kind of essentially work as the engine room, delivering L&D solutions. But then, of course, we're really proud of the way that we co-create and devise bespoke solutions for clients too. I mentioned briefly earlier sort of our commitment to working on bringing new and underrepresented talent into the creative industries, and we've done that over the course of the years in a variety of different projects, and I'd be happy to share those. And we've had some unrivaled success in that area as well, mobilising people into roles. So I'd be happy to share any of these projects if it's of interest to anyone. And then, of course, there's our apprenticeship portfolio. So we offer 2 ways to work with employers. One would be through closed cohorts, where you would have maybe a group of 10 learners and we would co-create a programme with you. And the other is through our open groups. Now, our open groups are where we sort of set markers in the sand across the year where you can enrol people into programmes with us. So this is our whole portfolio here, so you can see every single standard that we offer. We've got a marketing manager standard coming soon towards the end of the year, which we're really excited about. But otherwise, you'll see that we offer from level 3 right up to level 7. So content creator, fantastic programme, really well rounded, and sort of focuses on creative storytelling, tone of voice, how to really capture audiences, etc. So that's a brilliant programme. Multi-channel marketer, kind of in the field that might relate to a few of you also, but also things like sort of the leadership portfolio as well. So right through from business administrator, which we coin emerging leaders, to team leader supervisor, right into sort of a level 5 operations departmental manager program, and then your senior leader level 7/master's level programs as well. Obviously journalism we cover, ad and media exec, project management. So we've got a big breadth of portfolio that we can work with you on from an apprenticeships point of view. And these are our open programs. So these are the programs where you can enroll just 1 or 2 learners at various points in a year. So some of the programs that you'll seen before, like junior ad creative and ad and media exec, you won't see on the open calendar currently, but if they are programs of interest and where you think might offer an opportunity to bring someone into your business, come and speak to me, because we are talking to a few other employers at the moment, and it might be that we're going to open these programs further down the line. But you'll see here the various kind of months that we've got programs running. And what I've just done there is pop a QR code up on screen. If you want to just book a meeting in with any of us, please just take a quick shot of that, fill in the form, and we'll arrange a meeting with you one-on-one. So that's kind of it from us. I'm just going to come out of here, and hopefully if anyone's got any questions, we can open the floor.
Hi, can I ask something?
Yes, of course, John.
Hi. Yeah, hi. Great, good presentation. Good to see an overview of it all. So if I was to employ someone for a role, you said that there's sort of elements within the job spec that would need to follow certain guidelines. Like for those different programs that you listed, are there corresponding job specs that would match? Obviously, it would then need to reflect what we're looking for in our business overall. But yeah, you know, are there sort of templates or guidelines along that?
Not templates as such. I think ultimately you want to make sure the role aligns to what you need, number one. So I guess it's just ensuring that, first of all, you've got all the roles, responsibilities that align to what you need. And then it's just thinking about, well, if they're going to be doing a content creator program, it's just infiltrating some elements around sort of what that program might bring, like strong communication skills, brief pitching and presenting, creating content across platforms, understanding SEO, that sort of thing. So it's just having a look at the program, and we can absolutely help with that. So we're always looking at job ads for people and just sense checking them against the standards to make sure they kind of align. But all that is really doing is just making sure the apprentice has a full understanding of what's expected of them, I guess. And you can also do it where you just link out to the apprenticeship standard on i-FATE's website as well. So you would have the job spec with a link out. So it's just talking about best practice in recruiting, I guess, as opposed to what a specific guideline that you need to follow.
Yeah. Okay.
That makes sense.
Yeah. No, that's good. And sorry if I missed it, but in terms of the length of the apprenticeship, if we have someone who's doing at least 30 hours a week, you said, then they can do the apprenticeship alongside that. What's that period?
So it depends on the program that they're interested in, or that you're offering a role in. So if it's something like content creator, most of the level 3 programs run for about 13 months, and then have an endpoint assessment period of up to 3 months. As you move into the more kind of the higher level programs, advanced level apprenticeships, then we see people on program for up to 20 months sometimes. On Senior Leader 7. So it depends on the programme. And with regards to the part-time hours, 30 hours, we could still have them completing within that time. Correct me if I'm wrong, Michelle, but we could still, or Nina, actually, we could still have them completing in that period. But if anything under sort of 25 to 30 hours, then we need to give them due time within their working week to commit to the apprenticeship. So they'll have less hours in their week, which means their learning plan extends slightly. So it might be a couple of months that they finish after everyone else, but they're still on programme with everyone at the same pace, if you know what I mean. But they're just given more time for the sort of self-guided work, the assignment work, etc. So.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Understood. Thank you.
Super. Does anyone else have any thoughts or questions or? wants to know about any more of the programmes that we offer specifically, because Michelle's here and she knows them all inside out.
No.
No, all good.
It's worth saying on the apprenticeship, what you just asked, John, the apprenticeship standard is a bit like a job spec, and it covers knowledge, skills and behaviours needed, but it's worth kind of highlighting that these apprenticeship standards have to be broad enough to be used in loads of different employers and loads of different organisations. So there is a bit of a kind of generalisation of the role. You don't need to match it 100%. Exactly word for word what's on that spec. We just need to make sure that they are going to be able to achieve those things alongside their job role. So as Jill says, we can work, and we do very regularly check job specifications with employers that we work with to help them match it to the right apprenticeship standard and what's feasible for someone to do.
Okay, no, that makes sense. I mean, so if we were to, let's say, content creator as an example, if that was a role that we had, we would say content creator with apprenticeship or approved apprenticeship that is part of that job, and then all the details would sort of outline that, and that it's kind of included. It's you know, all the training is part of the job essentially.
Yeah, content creator is a great one because it's so broad. Content creator covers social, online, it covers audio, video, and some people might do video within their role, but they might not do audio, but they've got to learn it as part of the qualification because it's got a broad spectrum. So it's okay if their job role doesn't cover every single element of it. You know, like for example, in Bauer, from a social aspect, if you're not in the social media team, you're not allowed to touch the social media accounts. So we can teach them how to do it. We can get them stuff for their portfolio, but they're not allowed to do it on the job because their job might sit out of the team doing other content in the rest of the business. They can still take part in the apprenticeship. It's just that we would work with you on highlighting, well, if they don't do this specific bit, we need to make sure that they're getting the support to complete the qualification and cover that element as part of the qualification.
Okay.
That helps.
Actually, I've got another question. The sort of the funding of it. So I get that, you know, different sized businesses either, you know, contribute to the levy or sort of get the government funding. In terms of Bauer Academy's sort of commercial model, do you then get that funding to then, you know, pay for the apprenticeship?
So we get paid on a monthly basis through the apprenticeship service account. So once you set up, obviously the learners have started the learning. So throughout the duration of the apprenticeship, we get paid on a monthly basis by the government.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay then, so Teresa, I think we'll just we can certainly, we've got a recording of the session if anyone needs it, and we can obviously share around the slides, and please do feel to reach out at any point and set up a one-to-one meeting if you want to discuss any of the programmes any further. But I just want to say thank you very much for your time today, and Teresa, Laura, for setting it all up, and yeah, look forward to speaking soon, hopefully.